We at the Adventure Bike Shop have used our experience from our own halfway round the world and back travels. To put together a range of products that we think are top quality, will last you a trip. Brands we know and trust, products we've used ourselves. Dumb products, and what am I going to say? Welcome to the Adventure Bike Shop. This is now getting good.
The Adventure Bike Shop, proud sponsors of
Adventure Bike TV.
It's 2015. Welcome to Adventure Bike TV. We had an absolutely fantastic year last year, and this year we're going to be bringing you a whole host of new features. So keep your eyes peeled on our website. We're going to be bringing you a mid-month news special. We're going to be having our new online shop and also a whole host of new ways to interact with the show. Now, on Adventure Bike TV, we firmly believe that adventure biking covers the broadest spectrum of bikes. The debate about what constitutes an adventure bike rages on. Now, it doesn't matter whether it's a bike with an engine the size of a small car or at the other end of the scale, a C90. It is heated. Now, at Adventure Bike TV, we believe an adventure should be whatever it is to the person who's doing it. It doesn't matter whether it's a globe-spanning 10-year or year-long adventure, and it doesn't matter whether it's going out for a day, as long as it feels like an adventure to you. Now, in that vein, this week's bike test is a KTM's 350 Freeride. Okay, so the 350 Freeride is not going to take you across continents. It is designed as a cross between an enduro and a trials bike, hence why it weighs in at a meagre 99 kilos dry. That's light enough to put it on a bike rack, no trailer needed. On the road, you do feel the fact that it's geared low. In fact, the gearing is more trials than enduro or motocross, and in reality, it's a complete pain on the tarmac. It will get up to about 65, but it's most comfortable below 50. And even then, comfortable is probably stretching it. Bearable maybe, but you might need to Vaseline your gooch between stints. The bike does come with a full set of mirrors and indicators if you want them. We didn't on this bike, so it was back to the old school hand turns. The seat has been designed as an occasional resting place for your bum, not a place you'd sit for hundreds or even 10 miles at a time. The tank will get you 60 or 70 miles at a push, but adventures on this little treasure are not about distance. As soon as you're off the tarmac, it does all make sense though. It is so easy to ride, it completely flatters your abilities. It is light enough not to come away from you around the corners, but with so much grip and just enough weight to make you want to wheelie every time you pull away. It's almost like a downhill mountain bike with an engine. Say hello to your inner hooligan. Despite the hooligan tendencies, you could take this little machine on every kind of short off-road adventure and you'd not stop grinning. Not until you got to the tarmac, that is. Lastly, 1 point on cost. At $6.5 grand, this is an expensive mini adventure toy. Bob could not wait to get his hands on this bike. With its low weight, its low down power and those real chunky tyres, he believes it'll be the fastest around the track. But the Freeride is such a specialist niche bike, I'm not sure we can make that count. However, on the December show, it was so jam-packed full of good stuff, we didn't have time to allow Bob to do a lap on the Triumph Tiger. Back last summer, we were in Norway, and there's no better place to talk about cold weather gear. Now that it's January, there's no better time to show you. Of course, there's two key areas to work on. There's yourself and there's your bike. And for me, let me just quickly show you, I've got a really decent base layer on. I've also got this Kais heated vest, which is a first for me. Really good 3-layer outer kit and decent gloves. Now on the bike, this setup, I've got my attachment here for the heated vest, and then another new one for me, handlebar muffs. So let me just go through the stuff that I'm wearing on me. I hadn't mentioned earlier, I've got a pair of sealskin socks on, and they've been a huge revelation for me, and I'll explain why. Because if your feet sweat, which everybody's feet do, the sealskin socks breathe. So your feet actually, next to the material on your skin, are completely dry. And even though I've been riding in conditions that are probably just above zero, so with the wind chill it's well below zero, my feet have been toasty the whole time. The heated vest, another massive revelation for me. And the thing that's brilliant is it's adjustable. So I can be riding first thing in the morning when it is virtually ice on the road level cold. Heated vest is on maximum, but as the day warms up, so it's still chilly, but if I had it on maximum I'd be literally sweating as I'm riding along. Turn the heat down and it's just perfect. So the handlebar muffs, although they don't generate any warmth in themselves, of course the big thing that they do is they deflect all the wind off your hands. And even though I've been wearing really good thick gloves, these things have kept my hands completely free of any chills from first thing in the morning when it's been probably -5 with a wind chill factor. So even though the temperatures have been very, very, very chilly up here above the Arctic Circle, I've been warm the whole time. I haven't shivered once. If anything, I think I've become addicted to this heated vest. I can see myself wearing it all the time at home. What else could you possibly have? Well, really it comes down to everything that's heated. You can get heated seats, you can get heated socks, heated gloves, heated trousers. For me, I think that'd be a bit too much unless I was riding in -10 or -15, and I can't see that happening. But you can have heated everything if you wanted to, including of course heated grips. One last comment on coping with riding in these temperatures is what you do when you're off the bike. So if you're camping, which we have been, tent, sleeping bag and roll mat. Now the roll mat's really important because it keeps your body away from the ground, which sucks the warmth out. And the tent, well, you can take a few degrees off the temperature you need for your sleeping bag. Let me just talk about that for a moment. All the sleeping bags come with a rating, a comfort rating. And this one is a comfort rating of -1. So that means if you're in the sleeping bag without tons of layers on, you'll be comfortable at -1. So if you're thinking about the type of temperature you're going to be camping in, start with that temperature, and you can take 2 degrees off that temperature because you're in your tent. And if there's 2 of you in your tent, you can take another 2 degrees off. So if there's 2 of you in your tent, you really need a sleeping bag that can cope with 3 degrees. Now there's a balance with the sleeping bags between the size and the temperature rating they can cope with. And generally speaking, the bigger the sleeping bag, the lower the temperature it can cope with. This particular sleeping bag is a down sleeping bag. Now for me, I prefer that because they pack up really, really small and you get a huge amount of insulation from it. There is one downside to them. If they get wet, they're a problem. Getting them dry is a real difficulty, and they don't have the same sort of insulation properties once they get wet. One of the bonuses of this one is it comes with its own waterproof bag. So I know we only covered just a few kind of little tips about keeping warm when you're riding in the winter, but the key thing for me is making sure it doesn't put you off your adventure. Most people will still do a commute in the winter as long as it's not icy, of course, but we've been on this adventure for 8 or 9 days now in really, really cold temperatures, and it hasn't been an issue because of all the stuff we've used. In all seriousness, let's be careful out there. Those roads are dangerous in the winter. Now it's time for a break, and when we come back, it'll be our first viewer submitted Under the Visor.
We have the largest selection of hard luggage under the one roof in this country. Bollocks.
Ludo Loco. Ludo Loco is a brand new online social community made specifically to suit bikers everywhere. Whether you ride a sports bike, adventure bike or even a hog, we invite you to join for free. Every member gets access to a host of great features where you can meet new riders from your area and anywhere in the world. Arrange ride-outs, talk about the latest news and gossip from trackside to the other side of the world. Share videos, pictures, blogs with everyone. And no one gets preached to like many other sites. The content is only submitted by people like you. Finally, we give you a great way to sell your bikes or anything else at a price that beats all competitors. So join Ludo Loco, the motorcycle community that's riding forward together.
We are the sole UK stockist of the Redvers tent, the original park your bike in the garage tent. We also have a range of tents and other camping equipment from a number of trusted brands. That was
Welcome back. Now it's time for Under the Visor. And this month we've got Lisa and Jason, the two-wheeled nomads. You'll have seen plenty of film from their trip on Adventure Bike TV, but now it's time to get a bit more under their skin.
James Cargo Motorcycle Shipping sponsors Under the Visor. Hello, I'm Lisa, this is Jason. We are riding from Argentina to Alaska. I'm riding a F650 GS, also known as Pearl, and Jason's on a F800 GS.
The only problems we've had were the battery that died on my bike, which at the time I didn't actually know was the problem. And we were 80 miles from the nearest big town. Luckily we were with an Argentinian friend who was also riding a bike, and he towed me for 80 miles back to town, which was quite interesting because I'd never done it before. A little scary moment was when we were actually back on the tarmac and we overtook a truck at 50 miles an hour. Of course I had no choice because I was the towee. I just had to go with it, so that was a bit scary, but apart from that, that was probably the only problem.
Oh, that's really a difficult one. Yeah, so I guess aside from all the amazing interactions we've had with people, all the people we've encountered on the road so far, one of the moments that does particularly stand out for me was probably when I started to relax on the Ripio on the loose gravel. And one day, after weeks and weeks and weeks of being pretty terrified, I just all of a sudden decided to let go and get her out of second gear into third, into fourth, and just go for it. Took that leap of faith and found that, yeah, all of a sudden off-road riding became fantastic fun. It was a bit of I was probably having a bit of a mini epiphany, if I'm honest.
I would say the worst moment so far is when we were snowed in a ski resort called Kaviawi, and we couldn't get down the mountain without the help of one of the locals who had a trailer. And on the way back down the mountain, a goat ran across the road. He made no attempt to avoid it, ran it over, and I had to witness the agony of this goat as it was dying in the middle of the road. So that was probably the worst moment.
Yeah, okay, so as I hinted earlier, I think me careering over all the loose gravel has surfaced a couple of dual frustrations from the pair of us. It was a little bit like the tortoise and the hare scenario. What was punishingly grueling for me was positively a pleasure ride for Jace, me being lost in Jason's dust on more than one occasion. Luckily now, fortunately, things have moved on a little and I'm starting a little bit more to hold my own. Although occasionally he does still tell me to suck it up, which yes, I have to bite my lip sometimes to that. However, the off-road riding, the tarmac riding, it all now has fallen into place. Something's just clicked for me and it is absolutely phenomenal. Best thing about riding as a motorcycling couple?
Be careful here.
Yeah, it is the constant companionship, first and foremost. On and off for the last 14 years we have travelled together, but two-wheeled motorcycling travel is a whole different experience. It's very unique. We get to share all the phenomenal firsts together, all the soul-singing scenery which will obviously wow you to the core. You just take it for granted that you can turn around to one another, go up at something, point stuff out to each other all the time, even forewarn the other person when something perilous is about to happen down the intercom through the helmets. We just take it for granted we can share all of that. We're travelling by the same means, living out this adventure side by side, wanting to see the same things, the same countries. In a nutshell, it's all of that. The worst thing about travelling as a motorcycle couple is the constant companionship. Forgive me, Jace, but we are with each other 24/7, and we're often riding a roller coaster, perhaps just me, of emotions. Riding often through difficult and challenging, unpredictable conditions, circumstances. Yes, we're there for each other to problem solve, but it is really difficult to stay sane with each other all of the time. Would you add anything to that?
Is that how you felt? Really?
Yes. And some.
The best thing about motorcycle Adventuring. I would say it's this. It's being able to go where you want, when you want, on your terms. Okay, you can do that in a car, but there's places where you just can't get a car. So, for me, this is the best form of transport, if you want to go and explore the world. And I heard somewhere that, and this was a great analogy, is that when you travel in a car or a bus or a train, it's like watching a movie. But when you travel by a motorcycle, it's like being in the movie. You've got the smells, you've got the wind in your face, you've got the temperature, you're in the environment, you're not just watching it through a window. So for me, that would be the best thing about motorcycle adventuring.
And I guess, as well, I would add, obviously, the spontaneity of it all. You never know. We never know who you're going to meet, what you're going to encounter in a day. Completely dictating from day to day, designing your entire day, your life, just exactly how you want to play it out. It's that flexibility, isn't it? Having total autonomy for the way you want to design your trip and live out your adventure. Things spring to mind. The first is the kamikaze drivers you're inevitably going to encounter through Latin America, especially those ones who think it's a really good idea to overtake you just before the Brava Hill when there's speeding oncoming traffic, leaving only a hair's breadth between the three of you. Second is the numbing cold. For the more nesh amongst us, I have felt the cold on a few occasions. And third thing for me probably is, yes, we have got heavy bikes. When they frequently do go over, they are a bugger to pick up.
And the other thing I would say is security. You just can't leave your bike and just wander off. You've always got to think about where you're going to put your bike. If you want to go off for a walk, you've got to carry all your gear with you. So I would say that for me is a factor. The fact that you just can't wander off. You've got to make sure your bike and all your gear is secure before you go off sightseeing.
James Cargo Motorcycle Shipping sponsors Under the Visor.
Thanks so much to Lisa and Jason. If you want to submit your own Under the Visor, go to our website where you'll find the details. And now, it's time for something cheap. Every so often on Adventure Bike TV, the producer likes to throw me a bit of a curved ball. And this month is no exception. He handed me an envelope and said, "It's a surprise." Surprise. He said, "Read it out." So, here we go. At Adventure Bike TV, we believe that adventure biking should take in all shapes, sizes and budgets. Yeah, that's fair enough, absolutely right. So, your challenge is to produce the ultimate budget adventure bike, and your budget is just £1,000. Cool, like that. However, your £1,000 must cover everything for your adventure. You must buy the bike, your luggage, your camping gear, all of it including cooking and keeping dry, sleeping gear and anything else on the bike. That's more challenging. You may wear your own clothing unless you feel particularly frugal and want to try and include that in your budget too. I could see that being particularly challenging. There are just a few rules. You may not call in any favours. You is in big letters. You may not call in any favours. Everything must be bought from within your budget. Okay, bang goes that idea. The bike must be able to do an adventure that is 50% off-road and 50% on-road. Do not wear a cheap second-hand crash helmet. We are all about safety. Right. Then, this is a special note from the producer to me. But to be honest, Graham, I think you might make a hash of it. Thanks. So we'll open this up to Adventure Bike TV viewers and see if they can do a better job than you. If you, the viewers, would like to take part, go to the Adventure Bike TV website and let us know. You, as in me, and the viewers have until the end of June to complete your ultimate budget adventure bike, when we will all meet up and we will choose the best 3 to come on a budget adventure trip. Now that sounds like fun. Stay with us over the next few months and I'll be keeping a diary of what I will hope become the ultimate adventure bike, and we'll probably see some of yours as well.
Yeah, I think I'm just trying to make a note of what we've done so far, because I'm never going to remember anything by later on today. A few sort of little minor hiccups, like we found out yesterday. It's slightly concerning that we haven't got any transport to get from the Bangladeshi border to Dhaka, which I thought we'd organised, but it hasn't been organised, so we've got that to try and sort out today. Other minor problem, we haven't actually got the paperwork to get the bikes into Bangladesh yet, but in the scale of things, those are fairly minor problems, I think, compared to what could go wrong. Can we get in? Well, we haven't actually got visas yet, but I'm sure we can get those on the border.
We're going to have a competition, you can buy the craziest trousers. Okay, we're here at the Handlebar pub and loads of people have turned up to support us, which is great.
Me and Tom just come outside, and on the way in we saw one of the Desert Storms, not sure if it was ours, in the garage, and we just saw another one, and then we walked into here and found the rest of them. They look pretty badass.
I'm excited and it's going to be fun, and thank you for supporting us.
So basically there's 4 of us in the 3-seater car with bags by our feet, and we have to hold helmets on our laps for about 8 hours.
Small. It fits so much in.
ये बैग ठीक से बैठा है ना? हाँ. चैनल में.
I'm at the side of the road, run out of petrol. Everyone else has gone off because I was at the back. I did tell them I was going to run out of petrol, and we stopped at a petrol station, and I said I need to fill up because I'm not going to make it to the border. And they all insisted I would, and it was fine, and we had to make it to the border because the petrol is so much cheaper in India. But realistically, that's just a pain because now I've run out of petrol. So yeah.
Well, I was waiting, and as you do, you know, there's that sort of like time length where you're just not worried because you're saying, you know, there's India, there's a lot of traffic, they can be a bit late. But then there's got that length of time which is a little bit too much, and you start worrying a bit more. And then that timing of the driver was just brilliant. When I started worrying a bit much, he came to me, he said, here, very bad here. He said, it's just border, a lot of criminals, people come from Bihar, they come and steal the bike and sell the parts. And I thought like Tom was on the side of the road with his no bikes that got taken away, and we would be happy. That was the end of the trip then.
So we're at the hospital now, and I suppose it's a question of ethics really as to whether the non-medical people go onto a ward or not, and of course it's a personal choice for the children as well.
This is the Burns ward, so there's 22 beds on the ward. It's looking good. So we've got here, I think this is intensive care area.
High dependency.
Yeah. So there's one patient in the high dependency area at the moment.
I want to get more time, not on the bikes, but not in the hotel. So like, just like here, or not in the city, like, just like stop camping, which we might be doing tonight, and like go out there or something and explore like the mountains or something, rather than just stay in the cities or villages. So it's good.
How you doing? I've got a splitting headache. And I'm getting slightly frustrated because we left too late. It's 10:30. We've still could take quite a long time to get to the border because there'll be loads of traffic as we approach it. It's not an easy border. We've got people waiting for us the other side. You know, the last thing we want to be doing is arriving at the border late, especially when we've got 8 hours the other side to do. We should have already been at the border, to be honest, so it's just a bit, you know, I know it's going to take, you know, it took us 2 hours to get across a very, very easy border. This one is notoriously difficult, and you know, even without the bikes, we've still got to, you know, we've got to hike all our stuff across. We've got to try and actually find the other people, meet up with them, and you know, it's every minute we're sat here, it's another minute we're going to be late. So this is basically the moment of truth. We've reached the Bangladeshi border. It's 1,000 metres down the road there. This is the moment of truth to see if we can get the bikes through. So finally it's nearly 4 o'clock. We're at the border. Unfortunately, despite several hours of trying to negotiate, it's a no-go for the bikes. We can't get the bikes through. So as far as these fine machines are concerned, that's the end of the road for them.
This month we have another great competition prize. You can win a free return trip for 2 motorcycles and pillions to Spain with Brittany Ferries. You'll get a free cabin too, and you can choose the date. What a great way to get to Spain and have your own adventure. There are of course some terms and conditions which can be found on our competition page of the website. To enter the competition, just answer this question. It's quite tricky this month, so good luck. Which of these is not a motorcycle? A motorcycle. B, a motorcycle. C, the moon. Or D, a motorcycle. It's C, the moon. The moon is definitely not a motorcycle. Please also remember that this channel is 100% free to watch because of our advertisers. So please support us by supporting them and take the time to click on their adverts and take a look at what they have to offer.
Now come back after the break when I had a nasty surprise.
Adventure Bike Shop, we also do a wide range of soft luggage, if that's more your thing.
We really care about the adventure motorcycle market and try to make it as many shows as possible to see our customers. So if you can't come to the shop, come see us at a show.
Welcome back. Now, as you know from the start of the show, we were doing a review of the Freeride, and we were riding it when things went a little bit pear-shaped. As you'll know from earlier in the show, we have been riding the Freeride, and to be honest, it has been such good fun that we got a bit carried away, and I've been riding all day, and now I've run out of petrol. So on that basis, Tom the producer decided it would be an excellent opportunity to see what it's like to survive the night if you get stuck out in the mountains after a day of riding. After our day of riding with TrailQuest back in the summer, I had put a few things in my rucksack just as kind of basic, throw them in there because I've been told I should. To be honest, I can't remember exactly what's in there. I'm not sure whether it's going to be any good to me. Let's have a quick look. Right. First aid kit, I can't wear that, but really important. I've got some tea and coffee, that will be very important. What I do need is something to heat it up with. Water to make the tea and coffee. Aha! I completely forgot I put that in there. That's my Hexamine stove. That's a solid fuel stove. It's kind of the most basic stove you're going to get, but you don't have to carry any gas or anything with it, but I can make a cup of coffee with that. Aha! Luxury, a woolly hat. Right. I was hoping I had this in there because it's starting to rain. So this is your basic survival bag. Basically it's a great big polythene sack. And I remember these from when I was in Scouts, but I've never ever had to use one in anger. So I'll take it out and see how warm it keeps me. I'm not sure whether this is rain or whether it's snow that's melting on my jacket, but it's just starting to come down, just a little bit. Well, hopefully all Bear Grylls. Right. So like I said, it's literally a polythene sack, but it is the most basic survival equipment. Really, if you're riding by yourself, you should always be carrying one of these with you. The thing to remember with your basic survival bag is it only ever will reflect the heat that you've got in your body. So you've got to be warm before you get into it. Ideally, obviously if you're not, then you've got to just deal with it. But I want to try and get as warm as I can before I get into it. So I'm just going to use my Hexamine stove to get a brew on. So I'm also just using the bivvy bag so I'm not sitting on the cold and wet ground, because as soon as I start getting cold and wet through the ground, that'll kill me for the evening. Well, it'll make a bad situation even worse. So these are the kind of the Hexamine stoves, so they use solid fuel, and they were standard issue in the army and stuff for a very long time. I think I'm not sure whether they still are or whether it's now gas stoves that they use. Without wishing to state the blinking obvious as well, making sure you've got a lighter or matches, or even better, waterproof matches with you. Otherwise you'd be struggling to light anything. The downside with the solid fuel stoves is when they're light and compact, they're not going to get damaged by the rain or anything, and they're always going to be in your pack hopefully. The downside is you haven't got that roaring blue flame that you normally get with the likes of a gas stove. It is slightly different. Now at this point, because I wasn't expecting to be out doing this, I've literally just got water and sugary coffee, so and a couple of munchie bars in the bag. But it's enough to get me through the evening. I think with hindsight, I'd probably stick a bag of dehydrated food in there as well. Then you've got something you can probably get your teeth into. Right, well in true survival style, I'm going to have a quick scout round and see if I can spot anything that would be of any use to me. We're in a kind of wooded copse, so there isn't too much here. And there's certainly nothing like the burn, because it's just sopping wet. There are a couple of trees that are kind of quite nicely spaced together, which if I had a hammock, that'd be perfect, because I'll keep myself off the ground. So I have a horrible feeling once I'm in that bivvy bag, it's going to be very, very chilly from the ground up. I am super impressed. That's less than 3 minutes and that's boiling. I'm amazed by that. This is just powdered milk, coffee and the sugar. It looks disgusting, it's probably not going to taste much better, but at least it'll be warm and sweet. In fact, that does look really disgusting. Oh, that's horrible. I do say that's going to make that taste nice. Rather than just jumping into the bag willy-nilly and hoping for the best, I have actually thought a little bit about where I'm going to lie down. And I don't think it particularly shows in the camera, but there is quite a big dip here. So that's an obvious thing to avoid, because that will just fill the water with the rain. It doesn't look like there's anywhere where water's running near my bike, so I'm actually going to lay down sort of in the lee of the bike, so that when the rain and the wind is lashing down, it'll at least act as a bit of a windbreak for me. I've also made sure I put a little stone underneath the side stand so it doesn't fall on me when I'm sleeping. I thought that was going to be a really, really difficult thing to do, but literally just step into it. I don't know what made me think that was going to be too difficult, but that actually was fine. According to the picture on top, you've got to try and get it around your shoulders. I have actually kept my boots on as well, so it may be a bit uncomfortable, but I'll keep my feet warm. Actually, I don't feel too bad right now, but I haven't been lying there for 5 or 10 minutes. So it's but the problem is it only goes as far as my shoulders. So I think what I would need to do is bend my legs in it, try and get my head down as far as I can. I've been lying in my oversized condom for about 20 minutes, half an hour, so it must be about 9:15. I can feel it starting to work. You know, it's trapping the warm air inside mostly, because I'm keeping it tight around my neck. Not sure how sweaty it's going to get. On the downside, I can feel the cold coming up through the ground. There wasn't anything that I could cut down around here to try and elevate my body off the ground, to try and insulate me, and along my hip and my elbow and my shoulder, it's starting to get really chilly. So it's about midnight, and I just shifted out the bag a little bit to have a look at my watch, and all that lovely warm air that I trapped in it, along with all the moisture, it's starting to get a bit damp in here. Just scooted out. It's one of the annoying things about the survival bag, you've got to keep it really tight around your neck to keep the warmth in. But I'm starting to get not just cold, but really, really achy, and every time I roll, a new bit gets cold, and gradually I'm just getting colder and colder and colder. And you can't help wondering, it's called a survival bag because you can survive in it. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be comfortable. I think Tom must be getting concerned about my safety, because I am starting to get really, really cold. He's just handed me a lightweight hammock, which will get me off the ground. Which is strange, because I already have this with him. But bearing in mind, it was Tom who said to me, don't worry about getting more fuel. I think I see a pattern emerging here. I think that young man's been planning this all along. Absolute twat, actually. I'm such a twat. There was me thinking you would have this fantastic off-the-cuff plan, and you've been planning this to get me in the cold and the rain. Sometimes I don't like you.
Well, that's your own fault for boasting about your survival kit.
There's obviously a technique to this, but I haven't quite mastered it. You know what, that's not bad. Really, it's not bad. It's actually about 5 to 2, and Tom just came and woke me up because I've actually been sleeping really quite comfortably. It's the first time I've ever used a hammock like this, and I'm astonished by the difference. Taking your weight off the ground, you got no cold seeping in, and I'm not saying it's warm, far from it, but you haven't got that aching cold in your bones. The only downside is it's like it's been raining inside this bag, and I can feel the moisture now seeping actually through my kit to my skin. So what would be ideal would be something more like a breathable bivy bag. That'd be really good. Seeing as you seem to have planned all this, I bet you've got a bivy bag in your car. So seeing as Tom actually did plan all this, he has now handed me a proper breathable bivy bag, which even if you're lying on the ground would be a great improvement. You still get the cold seeping through, not quite as badly. Of course, what you wouldn't do is get all the moisture on the inside, like I'm getting the rainforest inside my survival bag. So I'm just going to swap bags and see how much this helps. One big advantage with a proper breathable waterproof bivy bag is actually you could use it just as a tent. So if you had your blow-up mattress or your foam rubber mattress, whatever, and your sleeping bag, both those two things inside the bivy bag, that's it, that's all you need. You definitely don't need a tent. And actually big enough to store usually you and some of your kit in there as well. This hammock's great. I'm even tucked inside out the wind. It's just past 6 and Tom's woken me up. I think we'll call that a night. And I've actually been quite surprised. I think it does what it says in the tin in terms of the survival bag. You'd survive, but you'd be in trouble because you'd be really, really cold. But it stops you from dying, I suppose. I've been massively impressed by sleeping in one of these. I think it's fantastic. It's the combination of keeping off the ground, the bivy bag, and I've still got all my bike kit on inside. I'm not saying I was warm, I'm not saying I was toasty, far from it, but I wasn't massively uncomfortable. I mean, it wasn't below freezing, there's no frost on this. It was chilly, but I think even if it had been below freezing, I might have been alright. This just keeps enough warmth in without getting sort of sweaty inside it. So yeah, not something necessarily that I'd want to do this every single night on a trip, but in terms of surviving if you're caught out unawares, it's perfect. And just need to see if I can find somewhere to get some fuel at 6 o'clock in the morning in Wales. That's it, thanks for watching. Stick with us through 2015, where we will be bringing you more destruction tests, more reviews, more daft races, and of course, more adventures.
Lost the tree, haven't you? The tree's over.
I lost the tree. However, you'll laugh because the first time I did this, I didn't have the sound on. But we'll be bringing you. That's it. Thanks for watching. Yeah, thanks. That's it. Thanks for watching. Stick with us through 2015, where we will be bringing where we will be bringing you first. I will say that.
Come on, I'm cold.
Rubbish and adverts, great adventure.
Fantastic. How can you get it wrong? It's yours. Right, we'll do it one more time and then...
I did great adverts, rubbish and adventures.
I didn't hear it click.
It's not. It's a recording. It's not a photo. But we will do a photo after this.
We're talking.
Okay. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1.
Rubbish and adverts, great adventure.